Hey everybody, welcome back to the Let's Talk review show. My name is John, and today we have 4 reviews for you guys. We're going to be talking about South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut on 4K Blu-ray, Moon on 4K Blu-ray, and we're also going to be talking about At Close Range and its MVD Rewind Blu-ray that came out. And we're also going to be talking about 2023's When Evil Lurks ended Shudder Blu-ray. So we're going to start it off with South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, and its 4K Blu-ray that came out at the end of June. I've been waiting a while to review this one, and this is one of the more disappointing 4K Blu-ray releases of 2024. And let me explain. This is a Paramount release, and Paramount, they're known for being pretty damn lazy, and they're just getting lazier, and this is the definition of lazy. Now, we'll start it off with the film itself, because South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, it was released in 1999. You know, this is at the time when South Park had just come out. It's only been out for a little while at this point. It's already got a movie being released in theaters. I mean, this took the world by storm back in the late 1990s when South Park first came around. You know, I was in elementary school, but everybody knew about South Park, and it's funny because the movie itself is leaning right into the fact that young kids were watching South Park despite the fact that these kids are cursing, they're dirty, they're making all these inappropriate jokes, and kids like me absolutely loved it because their parents weren't checking in on what South Park was. So this movie, talking about the Terrence and Phillips show getting a movie released in theaters, and then all the backlash from all the parents about the movie being, you know, turning their kids' minds in the mush, you know, something that we still talk about 25 years later. This movie is very meta and still is to this very day, but it was even more meta back in 1999, and we know that Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the people who made South Park and made this movie, they love musicals. Look at Team America, look at the Broadway play that they did. This is what Matt and Trey love to do, and this movie is a full-fledged musical, which is why I never truly loved it. I'm not the biggest musical guy.
And very soon you will say, it's easy and good.
But I went back, rewatched this movie for this 4K Blu-ray review, and you know what? I really did enjoy it. It's fun to go back to old South Park with the old South Park gags, you know, Kenny dying in every episode. He dies in this movie, which leads to a great George Clooney cameo, which is really funny as well. Just shows you how much people love South Park back in the day. From what I remember, George Clooney was one of the first people to really get on board with South Park when they were passing around that VHS Christmas special that kind of got South Park greenlit. So it's fun that he pops up in this movie. And, you know, just watching the characters in their old form, because South Park's still going to this very day, and it's evolved so much. Like, Randy is really one of the main characters on this show, but back then, it really was just the main 4 kids. And then we had some other characters that aren't really even around anymore, like Jimbo. And, you know, this movie has so many classic songs like Blame Canada. That one, I think it was even nominated for an Academy Award. I don't know if it won, but that song was nominated for an Academy Award. There's so many great songs in this movie. I'm just not a big musical guy, so I don't really get into those moments, but I was dying with the Saddam Hussein and the devil stuff. The fact that the devil is being bullied by Saddam Hussein, that's how bad of a person Saddam Hussein was. He's bullying the worst person ever. He's bullying the devil. That stuff still makes me laugh. That's the stuff that really stands out in this movie. They tried to make this more cinematic, so, you know, even though the animation for South Park has never been good intentionally, they tried to have some more cinematic shots in this movie. They have one big CGI scene towards the end, and we see Kenny's face for the first time. That was a big deal in 1999. Everybody always wondered what Kenny looks like, and we got to see him in this movie. So South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, I enjoyed my time with it. I had fun revisiting it for the first time in at least 10 years. It's still not my favorite movie ever, and it's still not one of my favorite animated movies or one of my favorite movies of 1999, but it's one that I'm definitely going to be checking out again sometime in the near future. And that's why I grabbed this 4K Blu-ray, is to revisit the movie in the future, because I didn't have the previously released Blu-ray. And it got this really nice slipcover on it. You come underneath, same artwork. And then you come inside, and they did include the previously released Blu-ray, which I think the last time it was released in 2017. And this is really where the laziness starts, is because on that Blu-ray is where you're going to find all of your extras. And what are your extras? Some trailers and one music video. That's it. And that is insanely disappointing. You know, you released a 4K Blu-ray, you upgraded the visuals. They didn't upgrade the audio. The audio is still the same Dolby True HD 5.1. Paramount has been doing this all year, just recycling their previously released audio. I don't know off the top of my head what was the last new audio track that Paramount gave us, but it seems like it's been a long time. They've just been reusing the same audio, so all you're getting here is an upgrade to the visuals on that 4K Blu-ray. And let me just tell you, it's not a huge upgrade. In fact, there's going to be some things that are noticeably worse on the 4K Blu-ray. Like, for instance, the colors look a bit darker on the 4K Blu-ray, mainly on the skin and the clothes, all that stuff. It just doesn't feel like how I remembered the movie looking. And then when I went back to the Blu-ray, I was like, yeah, the Blu-ray is more like how I remember the film being. And, you know, because it's an animated film, and an animated film that with poor animation intentionally, it's not a big upgrade in general. Really what you're going to be getting is just a brightness upgrade, and, you know, the blacks are a little bit deeper. But for an animated film like this, it's almost completely unnecessary. So if you have that previously released Blu-ray, there's no reason for you to upgrade the 4K Blu-ray, because you're not getting an audio upgrade, you're not getting any new extras. So if you have that previously released Blu-ray, it's packed in here. All you're going to be getting is a visual upgrade with Dolby Vision and HDR10. Yes, it's doing some work, but it's not enough for me to say, hey, spend $20 on this. If anything, this is on sale at some point throughout the rest of the year, maybe on Black Friday, then I could say, hey, maybe grab it for $10, but that is it. $10 is the most I would spend on this 4K Blu-ray. Even though I spent full price on it, that was really just so I could just do this review, and I kind of wanted to rewatch the movie, but I was hoping we'd get some new extras, and really, they just went the cheap and lazy route and just upgraded the visuals, and that was it. So I have to say, unless you really want to get this movie because you don't have a Blu-ray, you don't own it physically at all, then it might be worth it, but still wait for a sale. But if you have that previously released Blu-ray, there is zero reason for you to upgrade to the 4K Blu-ray, and I would give South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut on 4K Blu-ray a 5 out of 10. The movie itself is definitely worth your time, but this 4K Blu-ray is just very disappointing, very lazy, and that's why we're going to talk about a 4K Blu-ray where I feel like is the exact opposite of this, where Sony decided to go the exact opposite route of Paramount. And that movie is Moon, and we're going to talk about its 2019 4K Blu-ray. I actually had that previously released Blu-ray for the 2009 film directed by Duncan Jones. That's David Bowie's son, and Duncan Jones also directed Source Code, another great sci-fi movie, almost like a Groundhog Day time loop type of movie. I love this movie. I believe it got a second sight 4K Blu-ray release pretty recently, or a different studio also gave it a brand new scan, but I have this scan right here on 4K Blu-ray. I think this movie's fantastic as well, but for me, the best movie that Duncan Jones ever made was Moon. I have this previously released Blu-ray right here, which does come packed into this 4K Blu-ray, but one big difference between this and South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut is that the extras that were released on that previously released Blu-ray, they're all on that Blu-ray, but when you go to the 4K Blu-ray, you actually get some brand new extras. You get a retrospective looking back with Duncan Jones. You get plenty of extras both on the Blu-ray and on the 4K Blu-ray, so I thought that was fantastic. I'm getting a little ahead of myself with the 4K Blu-ray review because I do want to talk a little bit about the movie Moon, because I think Moon is one of the better released sci-fi movies over the last, 25 years. It is a fantastic movie, and it's a real showpiece for Sam Rockwell, because this movie just stars Sam Rockwell. He's the only real person you see on your screen. You see some other people in videos, but that is it. You get Kevin Spacey playing a CGI robot, almost like an artificial intelligence that works on the base on the moon, because this movie, it's in the near future, I assume, and we've been able to harvest energy on the moon, taking place of 70% of our energy on Earth. We can get it all from the moon.
No way. That's great.
This movie's real deep meaning is also about corporations, and this corporation that is harvesting on the moon, they have found a way, and I don't want you guys to go into this movie not knowing anything, so if you want to know nothing about Moon, I would definitely skip ahead, because I'm going to spoil a big part of the movie. Yes, you find out about it within the first 20 minutes of the movie, but I didn't know this going in, and it blew my mind the first time I watched this movie. So Sam Rockwell, he's on the planet. He's about at the end of his 3-year contract, where he's been on this planet all by himself. He's been on, it's a planet, it's the moon. He's been on the moon all by himself, harvesting the energy. His contract's about to expire, and you could just see it's wearing on him. He's let his beard go, he's let his hair go. He's getting a little bit loopy. He even says, I'm talking to myself on a frequent basis. 3 years might be a little bit too long. And, one day he goes out there, he gets into an accident, and another team has to come in and recover him. At that point, we kind of get back into it. It seems like, okay, Sam Rockwell, he's recovering from his accident. We kind of faded to black, and now we kind of see him getting back up. But when he does get back up, it's revealed that because he was gone, they actually replaced him with a clone of him. And this clone, you know what? It's at the beginning of its cycle compared to him at the end of his 3-year cycle. So this one, he's a little bit more stern. He's a little bit more arrogant. He's definitely a little bit more on the ball than Sam Rockwell is, the 3-year one, because he's at the end of it. He's just falling apart. And he's basically trying to explain to this guy, look at what they did to us, and that's one big thing. Again, dealing with the corporations. They don't want to have to pay somebody, so they basically made clones of Sam Rockwell's character, of the original Sam Rockwell, or in the character's name in the movie is Sam Bell. They made clones of him so that they wouldn't actually have to pay anyone. They would make them believe that, hey, you know what, you're going to go back home to your wife and kid. You've been looking forward to us. Thanks for doing this for us. But really, they're going to kill him and then just have another clone and rinse and repeat and do it over and over again. And the only companion that this clone has is the Kevin Spacey character, which is great in this movie. Despite everything about Kevin Spacey, he is fantastic as a voice character in this movie. You know, we just get to like basically see little emojis of how he's feeling. Like he'll have a smiley face or a sad face on this little like LED screen. But it's really Sam Rockwell's performance that keeps you invested in this movie. I mean, he's got to play against himself, and he's got to play two different versions of himself. We have to have the Sam Rockwell, the Sam Bell at the beginning of the cycle, and the Sam Bell at the end of the cycle. The one at the end of his rope compared to the one at the beginning of the rope. And then, of course, you know, they have to work together. They have scenes together. So it's just so well done in the visual effects. Department. It looks great. It sounds great. And again, Sam Rockwell. This is his best performance, in my opinion. Yes, this guy has won an Academy Award for 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. He's great in that movie. But this is a showpiece for Sam Rockwell, and he is the shining star of this movie. I love Moon. It's definitely one you should check out, even if you don't want to check out this 4K Blu-ray. And like I was saying, extras on both the Blu-ray and the 4K Blu-ray. That's all I ever asked for, and man, we got spoiled with extras. The only big difference between the Blu-ray and the 4K Blu-ray that kind of bothers me, because everything else is an improvement, is that the menu system on the 4K Blu-ray, I never liked those menu systems where you have to like click around. You know, it's very simple where we could just click on certain sections, but on this one, man, you know, you got to like go down, go to the languages, left to right. I don't like those menu systems, but again, that's a really minor complaint because Sony really gave us everything else we could ask for. It's a noticeable visual upgrade with the HDR10. I really did appreciate that because the Blu-ray is really solid. Sony puts out great Blu-rays, and it's still a noticeable jump in the visuals when you go to 4K Blu-ray. I mean, the blacks are deeper. It's definitely a noticeable increase in the brightness. That's something that's got to stand out. The detail is more noticeable. They shot this on 35mm film, so of course, it's going to look beautiful on 4K Blu-ray. Sony knows what they're doing, especially back in 2019, and this 4K Blu-ray when on the visual department is absolutely stunning, and it's incredible because like I was saying, that Blu-ray is really good, so to see a noticeable jump to the 4K Blu-ray is something that I have to definitely compliment Sony on. And then the audio, you were going to get a Dolby Atmos track on here, or a 7.1 compatible track. Love that Dolby Atmos track. Is it the greatest Dolby Atmos track I've ever heard? No, because it's a very dialogue-heavy movie, and, you know, there aren't big sequences where you need to have stuff moving around in the background, but still, I appreciate this Dolby Atmos track. I thought it was great. It's just not one that's going to knock your socks off. I appreciate them, though, giving us a Dolby Atmos track. That, again, they gave us upgrades to the visuals, the audio, and the extras. When you go from Blu-ray to 4K Blu-ray, you can do what Paramount did and just give us nothing but a visual upgrade, or you can do what Sony did and give us upgrades to every single thing, including the visuals. Here, when it comes to the 4K Blu-ray, it's pretty much the same artwork, and I didn't get it with a slipcover, but that's because I didn't buy it during its original run. I'm sure it had a slipcover then, but still, Moon is a great film, and it's a great 4K Blu-ray, and I would give Moon on 4K Blu-ray a really solid 9 out of 10. And now we're going to talk about the 2 movies I'm going to be reviewing for Kevin Kruger here on the channel this week. Kevin Kruger, like I was saying last week, he sent me 8 Blu-rays and 1 DVD. And this week he wanted me to review At Close Range and When Evil Lurks. And right out of the gate, both of these movies I had never seen before. I checked them out on these Blu-rays, and both movies are fantastic. Let's start it off with At Close Range, because I was really excited to talk about this movie. This movie was directed by James Foley, who also directed Glengarry Glen Ross, which is a great movie as well. He also directed the 50 Shades of Grey sequels, which I haven't seen, so I can't talk about them, but, you know, they are notorious for a reason. But this little gem right here stars Christopher Walken and Sean Penn. In 1986, this film was released, and man, great performances from the 2 leads. It's based on a true story. Christopher Walken's like the head of a crime family. He has a couple of kids. One of those kids is Sean Penn, Sean Penn's brother, his real-life brother, who plays his brother in this movie. Chris Penn is in here as well. You also get Kiefer Sutherland, and you get a small role from Crispin Glover, which is funny because this came out a year after Back to the Future. It's weird seeing him in a very small role, and he's Crispin Glover, so he's playing a weird guy in this film. And the movie itself, actually, and before I go a little bit further, I just have to bring up one thing, because the score to this movie, it kept reminding me of the song Live to Tell by Madonna.
I've learned my lesson well, hope I live to tell the secret.
And then we get to the very end of the movie. Sean Penn says the last line, and then it kicks in to Live to Tell by Madonna.
He's my father.
And I was like, so this is where the song came from, and that's why we're kind of having that score resemble Live to Tell throughout the entire movie. Love the score. The piano score is great for this movie. I really think it matches the drama completely while you're watching the movie. Christopher Walken, people might forget that Christopher Walken is a great actor because, you know, Christopher Walken kind of became a meme of himself and kind of became a little bit of a joke once we got to the Saturday Night Live days and the more cowbell, and then he starts popping up in all the Adam Sandler comedies. But Christopher Walken is an Academy Award winning actor. Just watch movies like The Deer Hunter. You know, he's a Bond villain at one point. Christopher Walken can act, and in this movie, he acts his ass off. First of all, he's got this hair and this mustache. He's got almost like a perm, looking like a real 1970s character. He's great in this movie. Sean Penn plays his son. You know, they're kind of estranged at the beginning of this movie. They kind of reconcile a little bit, and, you know, Sean Penn gets attracted to the money that Christopher Walken has. You know, he lives with his mother, his brother, his grandmother, his mother's boyfriend, who, you know, kind of seems like a piece of shit. But Sean Penn, you know, he's not the most well-off kind of guy, probably because his father's not in his life. And, you know, they kind of reconcile, and he wants to join the family business, which, of course, is a crime family. And they don't really think he's going to fit in. And then, of course, you know, he kind of gets caught up in the life. And then things unravel from there. And it builds up to the third act of this movie. It shocked the hell out of me. I didn't expect this because I didn't know anything about the movie going in. And again, it surprised the hell out of me. I'm not going to spoil it because maybe a lot of people haven't seen this movie like I haven't seen this movie. When it came out in 1986, it was raved by critics, but unfortunately, it was a box office bomb, which is why I assume people don't remember it. And that's really unfortunate, but thanks to Kevin Kruger, I was able to check this one out, and I loved it. I really thought the film itself was fantastic. I'm going to be revisiting it. Yes, I love 1980s films, and this is a great 1980s film. Of course, I love Madonna, so the Live to Tell tie-in is another thing I absolutely love. And then you come over here, and we get the MVD Rewind Blu-ray. This is the first one I've ever got, and I got a couple things to say about this because I thought this was a great release. You know, it lacked some extras, all of them. That was very disappointing. You just heard me ramble on about extras, but didn't really expect that for this. This feels like, you know what, let's get the movie out there, and I'm glad they did. Love the box art here. This is great reversible box art, so you get the clear case, like the old Shout cases where we could see behind everything, kind of like what Paramount Presents does. This is made to look like a zoomed in, like on the VHS, like a dirty old VHS. Love that attention to detail as well. That stuff really works for me. And then the visual and audio quality was really good as well. It looks like a 1986 film, so it's very grainy. So the grain lovers are going to love this one. But I appreciated the look of this movie. The audio surprised me. It actually made some good use of the speakers. Definitely was impressed with that. Didn't expect that. I was definitely very happy with this release, and I enjoyed the film tremendously. I really had a great time with this one. If this is one that slipped by you like it slipped by me, definitely check out At Close Range. And the last film we're going to talk about is When Evil Lurks. This is a 2023 horror film, and I saw many people last year praising this. So many people have told me before even Kevin Kruger sent me this Blu-ray that I had to check this movie out. And man, what a great horror movie this was. This one was directed by Demian Rugna. I know I'm pronouncing his name wrong, and it stars in the lead role Ezekiel Rodriguez. And he gives a phenomenal performance as the lead in this movie. I mean, just a heartbreaking movie, scary, suspenseful movie this was. Didn't expect this movie to be as good as it was. It had some real shocking stuff in it. And the lead actor, man, at some points I thought, this looks like Old Man Logan from Logan. He looks like a skinnier version of Hugh Jackman in Logan. I would think it all the time while watching the movie, but still, his performance is phenomenal. It's about a small town that unfortunately now is going to be suffering from a possessed character, or a rotten, they call in this movie, which looks like the big fat guy from Seven. You know, he's just disgusting, and he wants to be killed because then he's able to possess anything he wants, and he wants to be reborn, essentially. That's what this movie's about. So not only is our lead character, his brother, and another character say, okay, well, there's certain rules we have to follow. We're not allowed to shoot, and we can't use weapons, which other characters break that rule throughout the movie. But they're like, okay, so what are we going to do? So they decide they're going to take him out of town. As they're driving out of town, a kid on a bike is there. They swerve out of the way. They go 20 more minutes down the road, and they realize, oh my God, he must have fell out of the back. but they think, okay, that's fine, whatever. We got rid of him. He's not in our town anymore. We're good. But that's not how it works, because somehow now that it knows who they are, it's able to capitalize like on it's able to capitalize on their biggest fears, and it just starts turning all of their lives upside down. And I'm not going to reveal any more than that, just to say that there is some really shocking stuff in this movie, stuff involving a dog and a little girl, somebody with an axe. Like, if you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. And it's so dark throughout the movie. Nothing gets better. It just gets worse and worse and worse. This movie is just so dark, so suspenseful. I mean, there was stuff in this movie it shocked me. It truly did. And I enjoyed my time with it. The movie flew by. I think it's only an hour and 39 minutes long. It's definitely worth your time. That Shudder Blu-ray, it's not the greatest Blu-ray ever, but if you don't have Shudder, I don't really have Shudder because I watch all my movies physically. I don't really have time to stream movies. Just don't really have the time. I'll stream a movie if I have to check it out, and I'll just end up renting it, but I didn't think I needed to pay for Shudder. But I love that Shudder actually releases their movies physically. We complain about Netflix all the time not doing that. At least Shudder does. They gave us this movie on Blu-ray. Kevin was able to buy it, mail it to me. I was able to check this movie out, and you know what? I'll be revisiting it. So I'm so happy to have this movie on Blu-ray. It's a great film. It definitely would have been one of the better horror movies of 2023. I saw people saying that this and Talk to Me were the two best horror movies of last year. They're probably not wrong. I'll have to go back and look at my list. But Talk to Me I still think is a better movie. But still, When Evil Lurks is a great movie. It's just so well done. If for some reason you haven't checked this one out, I get it. It's a Spanish language movie, so you're going to have to check it out with subtitles. Do not let this one pass you by. It's a great movie. That's a good Blu-ray. Definitely check it out. And even if you don't want to check it out physically, stream this one because I really do think it's worth your time. And what would I rate this movie on a score of 1 to 10? Well, I would give When Evil Lurks a really solid 8.5 out of 10. And I didn't give At Close Range a score, and I would give At Close Range a really solid 9 out of 10. So both movies are definitely worth your time. I had a great time. I'm not too sure what next week's two movies from Kevin are going to be. I wanted to get out this week and check out Longlegs as well, but I've been a little bit under the weather and I don't want to go to the movies and get other people sick. So I'll check out Longlegs at some point. We got Twisters coming out this week. So on next week's show, you'll see my review of Twisters. Definitely looking forward to that. The early reviews say that's a real fun movie. Can't wait to check it out. But anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Let's Talk Review Show. It's also Tuesday, and that means it's time for our digital code giveaway. So I'm going to kick it over to my future self for this week's digital code giveaway. That is correct. It is Tuesday, and that means it's time for our digital code giveaway. In Friday's video, I asked you guys 2 digital code giveaway questions. All you have to do is answer one of those questions. This past week, I only asked you guys one question. That one question was, what is your favorite film? As long as you guys answered that question and you came back to this video right here, I put your name on a magic wheel. I spun that bad boy 2 times. The 2 names it landed on, they have their choice. The digital codes you've seen on your screen before you today. And like I was saying, I asked you guys what was your favorite film. So everybody's answer was pretty much different. We might have had some that overlap, but for the most part, everybody has a different favorite film. It really comes down to your opinion. And I just want to thank all of you guys who answered this. We actually got a lot more names entered into the giveaway this week. Everybody likes to talk about their favorite movies. And I just want to thank everybody for entering into this week's digital code giveaway. Some of you guys left me some really long answers, and I really appreciate you guys sharing with me why something is your favorite movie. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys all so much. And without further ado, let's spin this magic wheel and see who our 2 lucky winners are. All right, congratulations, Emmanuel Manaharis and Wahoo 120. You guys have both won in the past. Emmanuel, it's been a very long time for you. Emmanuel's been entering our giveaway for a very long time now. I really appreciate that, buddy. Congratulations. Wahoo, same thing. It's been a long time, I think, since you got your last win, but you've been entering for a very long time as well. And if you guys didn't win this week, don't you guys worry about it. We're going to do it all again this upcoming Friday. Look for David and I's Back to the Future review here on the channel for this week's episode of the Let's Talk podcast. At the end of that video will be this week's digital code giveaway. And for this week's winners, you know how to reach me. Reach out to me at my email address, letstalkentmt@gmail.com. Let me know which of the digital codes you want. As long as the other winner didn't take it, that digital code is all yours. And you can also reach me at the artist formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. DM me there as well. And for everybody else, make sure you guys come back to this Friday's video where we'll do it all again. And while you guys are down in the comment section, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on, share this video if you could. We have channel memberships, we have a friends of the channel tier, we have a producers tier where you're going to find Jason Martin and John Doe Juggalo. We also have a director's tier where you're going to find Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews and our newest channel director, Mr. Smelly Potato. Next week's episode of the Let's Talk review show will actually have their director reviews for the month of July. So if you guys want to have your own reviews each and every single month, you have to join the director's tier. Or you guys could always just send me the movie. That's always a surefire way to get me to review it. If you send me the Blu-ray, I'm always going to review it here on the channel because I really appreciate you guys spending your own money to help support the channel. That really means the world to me. But if you got no money to throw away, don't you guys worry about it. All we hope is that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you guys get out in those streets and tell your friends about us. And then we'll be seeing you around.